Charlie? Yeah, the food is right there.
Yeah, they're gonna get warmer. They've got some images now.
Good morning, or good afternoon, I'm sorry. It feels like it's still morning with gray skies up there. So welcome. It's good to see everyone. We have a little change in the venue this morning. Obviously, you can tell that there's going to be a funeral later today. And so we had to make a room change, and we're back to straight tables. So Dave Miller and I have this thing going with like flashback to another place at another time. But anyways, next week we'll be back across the hall in our round tables. So thank you for your flexibility today and for understanding. So it's all part of life. So this is where we're at today. But we're just excited. The most important thing is that we're together, and we're together in person, enjoying each other's fellowship. And thank you for coming. So it's good to have everybody here. And Mark, I'm going to put you on the spot. It's so good to see Mark Soule. Mark has not been able to be with us, and it's so good to have you back home with us in person. So thanks, and we look forward to having you back again real soon. And to all our visitors, you'll be introduced here shortly. So at this time, I was making sure they've moved things around a little bit, so I've got to get reoriented. Would you please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance if you're able? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And the four-way test is behind you, so you're going to have to do an about face as we say. Oh, well, it's on the screen too. Yeah, it's just that we have something on here that I'm not quite sure.
Everyone knows.
So everybody knows, right? We don't need, no worries. Okay, here we go. Good deal. Okay. This is the truth.
Well concerned. Better friendships. Beneficial to all.
Oh, good. Thank you so much. And our invocation today is going to be given by Cindy Kane. So, Miss Cindy.
Thank you, Linda. Please bow your heads. Heavenly Father, we come before you today with grateful hearts. We thank you for our relationships with our fellow Rotarians, our families, and our neighbors. We thank you for giving us talents, gifts, and work that we enjoy. Please bless the work that Jim Davis does with the Summit County Landbank. We ask you to give us wisdom, knowledge, understanding, prudence, and discretion in all of our dealings. May we show our thanks for the gifts of food and those who came to share it. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you so much, Cindy. And our greeter today is Del Cole.
There are no visiting Rotarians today, but as far as guests go, Jerry Keeper has a guest who is our speaker, so I'm sure we will, we'll learn more about him in a little bit. Cindy Kane has a guest, Allie Whitley. Whitley, very good. Welcome. Would you like to say what you do? Say hi to the group.
Yeah, thank you. Hello, everyone. Sorry to have my back. My name is Allie Whitley. I am a guest of Cindy. We are colleagues together at in real estate. And I've worked with you here now in real estate for years as well. And I'm just happy to be here. Thank you.
And Charlie Murphy has a guest, Alicia Kennedy.
My name is Alicia. I'm Charlie's right-hand man with all the cafes and the restaurants. And working with him pretty well, and wanted to show me what this is all about.
And back to you, President Landbank.
Thank you, sir. Charlie, thanks for coming today. It's always good to see you and have you with us, so, and your guests. Thank you for coming. It's an extra special day. We have so many extra special people today, so thank you. So I also want to acknowledge our wonderful district governor-elect, Julie Brandel. Julie snuck in and she's sitting at the back of the room. Hey, Julie. It's always good to see you, and thank you for coming to your home club. Are there any Rotary ambassadors that are out and amongst us today that have visited other groups? Oh. All right, we don't have any. Dave, would you want to, or Doug, do you want to, somebody like to do happy dollars? If it works, Dave will do it. Doug, you're just starting to eat, so we'll let Dave do it.
Thank you. Well, I have two happy dollars. First one, getting ready to do the Akron Food Bank again, November 16th, I believe, Wednesday, 4:30 to 6:30. And if you can make it, appreciate it. We just break down large quantities of food into smaller packages for local food banks. So if you make that, I'll be putting out an email soon. Second happy dollar, what's that?
So it's the last.
I always go.
All right.
I always go to dinner afterwards.
There's a standing one afterwards. We just gotta find a place.
Second happy dollar is I'm traveling to Columbus, Georgia this weekend. Daughters made the conference championship, so we're hoping they can win it 4 years in a row. Flagler.
And I'm gonna take the happy dollar so you can go ahead and eat. I have one
Thanks,
happy
Steve.
dollar. I have one happy dollar for this man. David has just been stellar over the last number of years as Sergeant of Arms, and he did a very fine job in recruiting Connor to replace him. So my happy dollar is for you, David.
Oh,
Anybody
thank
else
you.
is happy?
Miss Julie is,
Miss
and
Julie.
Dr. Rob next.
After celebrating 29 years this summer, I can't go and buy this anymore, can I? Why didn't you think I could do it?
No, that's a lot of years.
Here's $3, because that's how much cash I actually have. Because you don't have a big cash person, but I want to welcome Jim Davis to our meeting today. Jim, thank you so much for being here. Jim and I have spent the last year and a half getting to know each other very, very well because we just completed the renovation of this office. Landbank and my house and yeah. So I'm excited to hear what he has to say that isn't construction related.
Thanks, Julie.
Mrs.
Oh,
Thank you.
Miss Miller.
I just want to say thank you to all of you who helped contribute to Halloween, your Rotary camp with either cash or candy. We had it last night. There were about 100 people with campers, their siblings, their parents, neighborhood kids, and we also served hot dogs and chili and cookies and all that stuff. So everybody had a wonderful time. So thank you again.
Wow. I have three happy dollars. My first grandson turns 2 on the 11th, and I am about to head to Florida this weekend for a meeting, and I decided to divert at the end of the meeting. Just spend a happy dollar. First grandson. And the third dollar is for my newest grandson, who is about 7 weeks old.
Congratulations, Rob.
4 happy dollars.
for Jim being here today. We appreciate that very much. 2 is for the John Bailey team and the fact that they are just amazing people and they've been so flexible and we're still working through it, and I just love these people. And finally, the last 2 are for the ladies who flanked me here. I cannot tell you how fun it is to sit in a business setting with these 2 after all the years that we did it together, and it just makes my heart smile.
Well,
Sandy had to go and ruin it, you were tired.
well, good news, Cindy. You actually gave me 5, so you have 1 more if you want it.
You know what, Steve, it's for you for stepping up and doing Happy Dog.
That's planted right there.
And, Mr. Malcolm.
Yeah, 2 happy ballots. One for being back in the area after being out west for training. And just so much better with being back. And the other is Father Steve, who will thank you for all you do, and especially for the happy ballots.
Thanks, Malcolm.
Thanks, Malcolm.
Anyone else in the room happy today?
Mark. This is crazy, isn't it?
2 happy dollars. Glad to be here. I haven't been in a meeting for a while, and everybody's warm welcome is much appreciated.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Going once, going twice. All right, well, thank you, everyone.
Oh, thanks, Steve. Thank you.
So,
I just want to piggyback on what Dave Miller said, David Hall, excuse me. Whew, sorry. Dave, I gave you a new job. In addition to everything else that you're doing. We'll be working at the food bank on the 16th, 4:30 to 6:30, so please join us. All are welcome, and we have a fun time afterwards. I know Dr. Doug was with the crew last month, and Angie, and we had a good time. I think rebagging those or reboxing those Starbucks bags of coffee that looked so wonderful. An update of Jenny Wino. We're excited to hear that she's moved and she's over at the Gables of Green, which is off on Maslin Road, and she's doing better. So continue your prayers and good thoughts for our wonderful member, Jenny. So, and to Jerry, please deliver our thoughts and prayers to your mom. Cindy, do you want to, is that okay if you want to do an update on our Chili Open?
Chili Open time! I'm so excited. Jeff Sheets and I spent a morning calling many people who we thought would be willing to serve. And we got a great response and a great group of people to serve on all the little subcommittees for Chili Open. Then I went down with COVID. I was down. I owe some return phone calls. I'm going to get on that now that I have my life back together. So you're going to be hearing more. And it's going to be a great event. As usual, we're going to raise a lot of money, and we appreciate any bit of help that you contribute. So you'll be hearing more from us soon. And if you have any questions, please feel free to call anytime. And Mom, did I do a good job? Did I miss anything?
You did a great job. Thank you.
Thanks, Mama.
And don't forget that Saturday, February 4th at Hale Farm and Village in Bath. And we are really excited for this year's Chili Open. And it's to raise operating funds for the Rotary Camp for Special Needs Children. And the event can cause marketing opportunity for Summit County businesses. So business leaders, don't forget this is an opportunity to put forth your name in the forefront for these wonderful children with special needs out at the camp. So thanks to all. Mel, I was so glad to hear about the candy for the kids for Halloween, so that's great. So that was really, really good. So super duper. So put on your calendar, we're looking ahead. We will have a Christmas holiday gala here on December 20th. So FYI, don't forget about that. And we're really excited. So, Mr. Bowie, I believe that you have an update, sir, on our nominations and slate of officers for this coming new year of 2023.
Thank you, Linda. I want to, first of all, thank a couple people who've been very instrumental in pulling everything together, excuse me, for the ballot that will be going out shortly. We're just currently waiting on Marcia Holcomb from the foundation as far as the candidates that they're putting forth for our foundation. But in particular, Karen Herdlicka and Jacinto Nunez have done an outstanding job of working with the bylaws and kind of distilling down the simplicity of what it should be like when we look to bring on new officers. But shortly, within the next couple of days, each of us will be receiving an official ballot through the email, and you're going to want to take a look at that, and I'm going to go over it here real quickly here in a second, but it needs to be returned either electronically or in the mail no later than Monday, November the 28th. So with that having been said, let me tell you how this is looking as far as the overall ballot. And for next year, of course, Tom Knauer will be coming up as president, and there's a space that there will be for a write-in if anybody has any recommendations above and beyond, and there are spaces for anybody, any of these positions. Thane Billow is the president-elect. Vice president will be Katie Miller, and secretary, Mr. Terry Dalton, who has served us faithfully many years in that position. Treasurer Michael Gladys, who similarly has been serving the club for a number of years. And then in looking at directors, which is a 3-year term, we have 4 positions, and the directors are Laura Horovitz, Jerry Kiefer, Olivia Pylan, and Cheryl Warren. Regarding the Akron Rotary Camp, and the board member terms there are from January 1st of 2023 till the end of December 31st, 2025. And they are putting up for the board at the camp, Brooks Ames, Rennick Andriola, how do I pronounce it? Is it Geta or Jetta? Jetta Kudichev, Susan Savage, and Joe Swiatkowski. So that is the ballot that you'll be receiving this week in the mail. And again, please take the time to either fill it out and send it back electronically or to put it in the mail, and that it would be postmarked no later than Monday, November 28th. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Steve. Steve, I do believe that there'll be ballots here also at our meetings if people want to cast them. Is that not correct?
Have we done that in the past?
Yes.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so again, if it doesn't work electronically, you don't want to mail it, please be advised that those ballots will be here at our meetings going forward, so you can cast your ballot at that time. And I also want to remind people that you can have seconds and you can have thirds if you so choose. So there's plenty of food out there, and we're just excited to have an opportunity to do this. So with all of that being said, if you have any questions for Steve, please see him after the meeting. He should be available for just a couple minutes, right? Okay, Jerry, you're on, my dear.
Thank
Okay. I'd like to introduce Jim Davis. He's currently the program director for the Summit County Landbank. Jim oversees and directs both programs and personnel with the mission of, quote, strengthening neighborhoods, unquote, in Summit County. Jim has served as program director since joining the Landbank in early 2018. His professional career started with hands-on work performing both plant and animal metabolism studies. It's pretty fascinating. For a Fortune 100 company, after graduating from the Ohio State University, and a second degree from the University of Akron led to a career in real estate, new construction, and property development and restoration. And we will definitely hear about restoration at the end of his talk. He's very active in the community. Jim is a member of Portage Lake Kiwanis and serves on the board of directors for the Portage Lakes Tower. In addition to Kiwanis, Jim has in the past been active with the HBA serving Summit and Portage County. So Jim, welcome you to give your talk.
Thank you, Jerry. That was nice. First of all, Steve, you may want to hold on to some of those happy dollars. There might be some refunds by the time I get done with the speech. So I try to undersell and overdeliver, but I'm Jim Davis with the Land Bank. Patrick Bravo, our executive director, could not be here today. So you got the second team. So I'll try to make this as informative as possible and hopefully enjoyable as well. Might need some help here. I got to share screen there. Just doing that. There we go. Share. Use your arrow keys. Okay, thank you. Okay. So this is Patrick Bravo, our executive director. He was, unable to make it today, so you have me. Patrick has been with the Land Bank since its inception in 2012. So a little bit of information about land banks in general. The first land bank was started up in Cuyahoga County in 2009. That was as a result of the housing crisis from the early 2000s. Cuyahoga County Land Bank was started in 2009. The Summit County Land Bank was started in 2012. We'll have a little trouble seeing some of those, but gives a little timeline of the land bank. And what we do, the Summit County Land Bank, we're a nonprofit organization. What we basically do is we acquire vacant, abandoned, blighted, and tax delinquent properties here in Summit County. We have the name Summit County because we only deal with properties in Summit County, okay? Although we are a nonprofit organization, we do work closely with the Summit County Fiscal Office and also the Prosecutor's Office. A lot of the homes that we get through the foreclosure process, they have all been pretty much vacant and abandoned for some time. They are definitely distressed properties. We'll skip that one. But our mission, as mentioned before, is to strengthen communities here in Summit County. Currently, we are funded by the majority of our income is through our programs. I'll mention some of our programs here in a couple minutes. Another portion of our funding is through delinquent taxes. So whenever someone that has delinquent taxes on their property here in Summit County, when they pay those taxes or get on a payment program, a small portion 5% of that money that comes into the fiscal office goes to the Summit County Land Bank. So at our inception back in 2012, the majority of our funding was through these delinquent taxes. We call them DTAC funding. Generally, on average, we get about $1.5 million in DTAC funding. But currently, and over the last couple years, the majority of the funding that we have has been through revenues generated by our various programs. So we have a board of directors comprised of 7 individuals here in Summit County. They include the Summit County Fiscal Officer, the County Executive. We have some municipal representatives, which is Marco Somerville, Township representatives, which is Paul Schweikert up north in northern Summit County. And then we have several other community and council representatives. And we all recently just installed Jamie McMillan on our board. She is a real estate representative. So our team here at the Land Bank, I'll go through these pretty quick. Of course, Patrick Bravo, myself, and then Pat Horning, he's our budget and finance person. And then we have support staff in all of our programs. And we just hired a marketing and communication specialist here in the last year, as well as a construction manager. So we've been growing pretty much every year. So what are some of our programs? We have a welcome home program, building for business program, side lot program, a matching grant program. We have an underground storage tank program, as well as a demolition program. So our welcome home program, that's where we acquire foreclosed properties. Sometimes people will donate properties to us, but the majority of them we get through the foreclosure process. When we acquire properties, that's when we first get to see what we're actually getting our hands on, and that's when we initially get to go into a property. So at that point in time, that's when we assess the property as to whether or not it's economically viable to rehab or sell it as is, or in certain cases, sometimes they're beyond repair, they would go into our demolition program. What we would do is we would demolish the structures, create a side lot, and then typically offer that side lot to one or both neighbors or anybody else that applies. Our Building for Business program is very similar to our Welcome Home program. Only caveat with our Building for Business program is that we typically only go after properties once we have an end user. A lot of the properties that we acquire have some environmental issues, so we try to limit our exposure there. Our side lot program, that is our largest program by volume. On an average year, we'll acquire and then dispose of approximately 300 parcels here in Summit County. It usually typically costs us about $2,500 to go through and acquire a property through the foreclosure process. And currently, we sell lots for about residential lots for $200 per eighth of an acre, and commercial, smaller commercial parcels for $400 per eighth of an acre. So that's our largest program, also our largest money loser, to be honest with you. We also have a matching grant program for municipalities and nonprofits. It's a 50-50 grant. We've given out quite a bit of money over the last couple of years. Currently, this year, I think we've given out close to $100,000. Our underground storage tank program is a program that we started about 3 years ago. In that time frame, we've acquired numerous gas stations here in Summit County. What we have the ability to do that others can't is that we can acquire those properties through foreclosure. We can get some grant funding from the state of Ohio, remove any underground storage tanks or any environmental issues, and then turn it over to typically a municipality so that they can use it for redevelopment. One of the beauties of the land bank, and one thing I should have stressed earlier, is that The land bank is the only entity here in Summit County that can acquire properties. And when we acquire those properties, the back taxes get extinguished, they go away. So when we're looking at residential property, if a home has $30,000 in back taxes and needs an awful lot of rehab work, it's not economically viable for someone to acquire that, take on those back taxes and still feel they have a cushion or enough equity to go and rehab it. When we acquire it, that $30,000 would go away. You get a clean slate, clean title work. So at that point, then it would be economically viable. This is just an example of one of the gas stations that we worked on a couple of years ago. This was over on Canton Road. It was a gas station that sat empty for over a decade. It was in Springfield Township. So in addition to these programs, we also have some special projects that we've worked on in the past. We had a part in the Akron Rubber Bowl, the transfer of that from the previous tax delinquent entity to the city of Akron. Also the Akron City Center back in 2017, that occurred. We recently helped fund the Bowery project here downtown in Akron, and we also gave a grant for the Amazon Fulfillment Center over on Romig Road. That was about $1 million grant. We've also done some smaller projects for local businesses. This was Peaceful Fruits in the city of Barberton, helped them move to their facility there a couple years ago. On the right is a property on Morgan Avenue that was an industrial site. It does have some environmental issues, but we were able to acquire that. I believe in that case, we extinguished several $100,000 in delinquent taxes. The property here on the right was the Summit Liberty House. That was the first homeless shelter for female veterans. We worked with a nonprofit organization. We acquired the property, transferred it to them, and then they rehabbed it themselves, and they house female veterans there. Another property that the Land Bank currently owns is at 1040 Talmadge Avenue, and that's where the Ohio Means Job Center is. We acquired that a couple years ago from the county. So looking at new construction, currently, the Land Bank is involved in working with the residences at Good Park. It's an Alpha Phi Alpha project over off of Mall Avenue and South Hawkins. That's a multi-use site. It'll have both custom homes, semi-custom homes, and townhomes. In addition to that, on Front Street in Cuyahoga Falls, we're working with Testa Builders on a 50-unit townhome site. That particular site, we're partners with them because currently there are some commercial buildings on that property that need to be demolished. We'll do that, and then we'll also make sure that environmentally everything is cleaned up before redevelopment occurs. So Jerry, here we go. So we're located at 400 South Portage Path. We're located in what is now called the John S. Knight home. It was a home built by John S. Knight in his earlier years when he was just starting a family back in 1922. It was somewhat of a modest home. He hadn't come to prominence back in 1922 that he accumulated over the years. But the family lived there for less than 10 years. When his wife passed away, they abruptly moved out of the house and didn't go back for years until they sold it to another family. But the Summit County Land Bank, we acquired it in late 2019, early 2020. And we did work with Metis Construction on the renovation of the home. It overall was about a $2 million renovation. Everything from the basement floor to the chimney pots up on the roof was either repaired or replaced. We now house all of our staff in the house. All of our offices are inside. So it's a great place to be. We love it there. We were at the Pry Building in Akron off of South Main prior to that. And I'm going to wrap it up here. I see, I don't know how we're doing time-wise, but this is just a quick picture of the spiral staircase in the main entrance of the home. On the left is before, during, and now after renovation. So this is an impact summary of the land bank. You can see, how the numbers stack up. Unfortunately, this is from back in 2018, so that was 4 years ago. COVID kind of got us a little bit behind on getting some of these numbers up to speed. But the bottom line, I think on the next slide, or at the lower right there, the indirect community impact and investment at that time was about 75 million. I think we're close to 100 million now. So recently, as I mentioned, we've been in existence since 2012. Here in the last 2 years, the Ohio Land Bank Association was started. It's just a way for land banks in Ohio to meet, network. Right now, there's about 65 land banks in the state of Ohio. Ohio is really kind of considered the gold standard when it comes to land banks. A lot of that is as a result of some work that a couple people at the Cuyahoga County Land Bank did back in 2009. So, as I say, we're the gold standard. We're far ahead of a lot of other land banks in other areas of the country. And when we talk about land banks in Ohio, I would say, without a doubt, the Summit County Land Bank is probably in the top 2 or 3 with what we're able to do with the money we get. So, questions? Refunds?
I don't think you mentioned this. So when a person buys a residential property from the land bank, do they have any sort of requirement to stay there for a certain amount of time, or is it just a regular sale like to any other home?
Okay, so when someone acquires a property from us, typically they will acquire that property. We'll have required repairs that they have to do. Like I say, when we acquire the property, we'll go in, we'll do an assessment, do a scope of work, see what needs to be done to bring the home up to code. At a bare minimum, they need to bring it up to code and make it safe, sound, clean, and healthy. Once they get those repairs done, they can either live in it, they can sell it, they can rent it out. Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for all the info, the presentation. No refund. But how would someone, engage with you? Is it mostly businesses that engage with you, government? Is it individuals like houses? Is the goal to never engage people in?
No.
What does that look like?
So our website, summitlandbank.org, okay, is our website where you can find out about all of our programs, find out about properties we have available. We're constantly acquiring properties through the foreclosure process. Like I say, when we get them, they might go on our website to be sold on as is so people can bid on them, okay? Or we might keep them in-house to do some rehabs. And I will say that Cindy and Allie have, been kind enough to, help us sell some of these rehabbed homes here over the last 2 years. It's really helped us immensely. So it could go in a couple different directions, but businesses contact us, individuals, we do a lot of work with municipalities. Yes, sir.
You mentioned the city center hotel, I forget what it's called. What's happening with that?
Well, that was right before I came to the land bank. We acquired it. It had quite a bit of back taxes. My understanding is that it was sold to a developer. They have not yet started to do any redevelopment work on that.
Update on the Arbor Bowl?
We transferred that to the city of Akron for $1. Here they went in and initially took down, I believe it was the western portion of the stadium. They kept the eastern portion up against Washington Boulevard there because they were concerned that if they took out all that concrete, it might compromise Washington Boulevard. I would have to defer to the city of Akron on what their plans are now. I think that they might be using some, maybe some funding, CARES Act, ARPA funding, something along those lines to move to the next phase there. Mhm. Yes.
I have two questions, please. The Summit Liberty House for female veterans, that's still in operation?
Yeah, that's on Arch Street.
Do you publicize, or how do female veterans, have opportunity to be housed there?
Okay, so when we acquired that, we transferred it to, I think it was Family First, which is a nonprofit organization. I believe they have ownership of it now. So, I could find out and get you a contact number if you wanted.
Just curious, with that opportunity for female veterans, because you don't see a lot of publicity out there.
Right.
About that.
It's a growing need.
Absolutely.
And we work with a lot of nonprofit organizations. We've done an awful lot with the Well CDC, close here in Middlebury neighborhood, Truly Reaching You. We've worked with them quite a bit, and then, quite a few others as well.
That's good to hear. And then you may not have any affiliation with this, but what was it about Pointers Square being sold, the facility, the property?
I'm not familiar with that one
Okay.
yet.
It's like, I don't want to touch that.
No, I can look into it and see.
I'm just curious, because I've heard rumblings about what's going to happen.
Okay. So, the land bank, we're like I say, we're involved in a lot of different areas. We're more than welcome, more than happy to assist, nonprofits to help facilitate, development in their communities. We work closely with the Summit County Executive's Office. We meet constantly with businesses that want to expand in the Summit County area that might be looking for property that is distressed, that they can acquire at a discounted rate and then redevelop.
How are you reached through your employment?
Well, I have business cards. I can do that, or through our website.
Okay. Do you have business cards with you?
Happy to. I have some. I can just leave them up here.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's great. Would you be available afterwards for a couple minutes to
Sure.
answer any additional questions?
Sure.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And to thank you, here is a card and also a coin with our Imagine 22-23 Rotary slogan, I guess we call it. Okay. And you help us to imagine wonderful things for Summit County. Thank you.
A lot of good information. Thank you so much. So, Mr. Hall, would you like to do our raffle,
Yeah,
please,
it's a raffle.
kind sir?
Just as a reminder, this is a weekly raffle we do. It's a three-way split. A third goes to the daily winner, a third goes to the club, and a third goes to a progressive pot. The daily winner gets to choose from the deck of cards here, and the joker gets the progressive pot. Give me that, or pick me a winner for today. All right, deliver bot right after me, 228803.
Oh, wow.
Me, David.
Yes.
Oh, Connor.
Thanks, Jim.
He does himself by the way.
Cindy.
I have a hard
One more ticket.
All right.
No go?
No go, 5 of hearts.
Oh, okay, very good. Okay, super. Anybody else like to share some happiness, good things before we ring the bell and say have a fabulous Tuesday? Anything else? Nothing? Julie, would you like to say something about the event in November?
I'm sorry?
The event in November up at Windows on the River?
Oh, the gala.
The gala.
Annual gala. So, we have our annual foundation gala in the month of the Rotary Foundation, which is always in November. And so November 16th, we'll have a Peace, Love, and Rotary tie-dye extravaganza at the Windows on the River. If you've not been to a district event, this would be the one to go to, because I think they have really taken the event, the annual event, and really elevated it this year. It'll be a lot more fun, less stuffy, and a really good opportunity of people in the district. I know I've heard that. People think sometimes that stuff's a little stuffy. This won't be the case. This district governor's really fun guy, and well, of course, so I'll figure it out.
Yeah, and they have something called a dessert dash.
Yeah, you guys probably saw it at the Boys and Girls Club event annually, where everyone like brings dessert, they put it on a big table, and then whatever table puts in the most amount of cash, they get the first choice to go up to the table and get to pick. But it's kind of like a race to the finish to get whatever's the best dessert. So it's been on hold for the last 2 years, a couple because of COVID, of course, we didn't have the event. And then, of course, there was some residual rules that we couldn't have an event like that with the game. So that's always fun. And of course, it raises money for the Rotary Foundation, which internationally, does good work all over the world. So if you would like to be there.
Very good, thanks. You can RSVP online. It's on our newsletter, so take a look at it. It is a lot of fun. It's a great place to have it, and you get to meet other fellow Rotarians from 6630. And so an opportunity again to be together and have great desserts. It's unbelievable, the bakers that are out there. So it'll be a lot of fun. So check our newsletter for more information. Anything else? If not, kind people, our meeting is adjourned. Have a great rest of the day.